Welcome back to digital class, and now we are looking at PSLE last minute revision set number C. Okay, so without further ado, let's start with our discussion for today. So the first question here says that the first 20 numbers in a pattern are shown below. What is the digit in the ones place of the 294th number? So the keyword here is the digit in ones place. Means that, example, 11, 13, 16, these numbers are not that important. And what is important is on the ones place, which means that the 1, 3, 6, 8, 9, 0. So let me just write this down. 1, 3, 6, 8, 9, 0. And you can see that this is being repeated here. 1, 3, 6, 8, 9, 0. 1, 3, 6, 8, 9, 0. Yeah, this is being repeated. So it's actually not really important that what is the number on a tens place or even 100 place. Okay. So, and I want to find when it is 294 number, what would be the number? So this is my targeted number. And how many numbers are there in one set? I mean, I call this as a one set. This is one set. This is one set. So how many numbers do we have in one set? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There are 6 numbers in one set. So how do I find this? As what you have learned, we will use 294, our targeted number, divided by the number we have in one set, which is 6 in this case. So that will be 294, we divide by 6. So what times 6 is near to 29, but it's not more than 29? Probably 4, 24, and here is 54. And 9 times 6 is 54. 8. You will notice that there is no remainder, is exactly 49. Now, from what we have learned, if we have a remainder here, example, remainder of 1, or either 2, or 3, or 4, or 5, right? Because there's up to divide by 6, so means they only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If the remainder is the first one, means what? That will be the first number. If example, if the remainder is 5, then it's the fifth number in the set. But in that case, in the case 7, there's no remainder here, means it's 0. This tells us that it is actually the sixth number. Okay, the number 6 number. So which one is the number? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is our sixth number. So the answer is what? 0, which is option number 2. Okay, so I believe that this question is a bit interesting compared to the previous one, because this question first, it treats you by giving you the 10th number, okay, which is like 11, the first number, 21, okay. And second is that usually they will give you a remainder, but this time they don't give you an exact remainder. They give you a no remainder. That again tells you is the sixth number. But basically it depends on this one. Example, if I divide by 7, there's no remainder, there will be the 7th number. Okay, so I hope you get the idea, and that is basically for this question. Okay, so with that, let's move on to our next question. And the next question is from Nanhua paper 2, question number 7. So let's look at this question. This question here says that Mr. Lim bought 24 tubes of identical ice cream for $360. Now, after a price increase in each tube of ice cream, he could only buy 20 tubes with the same amount of money. What was the percentage increase in the price of each tube of ice cream? Now, again, when you see the word percentage increase, which we have been discussing in the past few sets, the formula is always amount of increase divided by the original amount, and I need to times 100%. And again, I have reminded you in the previous set that do not include the percent in our calculation, okay? Because we are leaving it the answer something percent like this. Okay, that's why we do not include the percent. Now, let's look at this question. I have 24 tubes, and that's for $360. which means that the original amount, original price is actually what? Is actually 360 divided by 24. And if you press on your calculator, you should get the price as $15. But now, you can only buy 20 tubes. Means that now, the new price or the new amount that I have now is 360 divided by 20. And that actually is what? That actually is $18. And from here, I think you can see very clearly the price for each tube of ice cream actually have increased how much? $3. From 15, it became 18. So the amount of increase is actually 3. What is the original amount? 15. And I just need to times 100%. Okay? And you just press this in calculator, or if you can simplify, you should get 20%. Okay? Again, the same reminder I want to give you, the percent do not include in your calculator, because this percent I need to keep it here. Okay? And that's it for this question. Okay? It's not a hard question, but definitely is a question that is worth trying. Okay? So this is actually a 3-mark question, not a 2-mark question. Okay? So this is 20%. I think it's good. So let's move on to our next question. Yes. The next question is from Nanyang Paper 2, question number 14. So here the question says that David and Edmund had some stems at first. I don't know how many in ratio. And the question continues to say the ratio of the number of stems David had to Edmund was 1:4. So which means that now, if this is David, if this is Edmund, or you can just put a D to E, is actually 1:4. Now the questions continue to say that David gave 1/3 of his stems to Edmund. Means that now D gave 1/3 to Edmund. Now, if I'm able to give 1, means that I actually at first have how many unit? 3 unit. But here say how many unit? 1 unit. Means that what can I do is I should make this 1 and this 3 to be the same, because they are supposed to be the same, right? Because this is what I have, and here say is 3. So I just times 3. And I know that, oh, what I actually have is 3 unit, but here will be 12 unit. Okay? So I'm giving 1 unit to Edmund, right? So I minus 1. Then I would plus 1 here. And now, how many unit left? I would have 2 unit left, and Edmund now would have 13 unit. Now, the questions continue to say, after that, Edmund then gave half, 1/2, half of his stems to David. Means that whatever I have here, I will give half to David. Now, 13. What is half of 13? It means 6.5, right? So I minus 6.5. Then I plus 6.5. Is it okay to have decimal? It's okay. Okay. If I give half, I will have 6.5 left. And if I add 6.5, I will have 8.5. Okay. And the question now here tells me what? David had 170 stems in the end. Okay. This 170 stems, which is actually equivalent to what? Equivalent to 8.5 unit. So which means that I know 8.5 unit is equivalent to or equal to 170 stems. So just press on the calculator. 1 unit will be 170 divided by 8.5. And you press the calculator, you should get 20. And if I know what 1 unit is 20, then everything is easy. The question says, how many stems did David have at first? Can I just say, 1 unit, so the answer is 20? No, you cannot do that, because we should use our new ratio here, which is 3 unit. So 3 unit will be equal to 20 times 3, which is 60. Yes, and that will be our final answer for part A. Now let's look at part B. Part B, the question asks, how many stems did Edmund have in the end? Edmund have in the end. So in the end is how many unit? 6.5. In the end is 6.5. So let me just write it down here to make it easier. I know now, again, 1 unit is 20. 1 unit is 20. So 6.5 will be what? 6.5 unit will be 20 times 6.5, and the answer will be 130 stamps. And that will be my final answer for part B. I think it's kind of easy. As long as you have the big picture coming out here, then everything will be easy. Okay? So I think it's not a hard question, and let's continue with our next question. Okay? So the next question will be moving to from Catholic High School, paper 2, question number 14. Okay, this is about volume of water. Let's look at this question. Raj had an empty rectangular tank P and a cubical tank Q. Now he poured an equal amount of water into the tanks, means P and Q. And after that, 1/4 of the tank P was filled with water and 2/3 of the tank Q was filled with water. The difference in the capacity of P and Q is 5625 cm3. Now, the keyword that I believe you're able to notice from here is equal amount of water. You spell it correctly? Now, if I say pour an equal amount of water, means that what is being filled is supposed to be the same. Now, P and Q. P is 1/4 being filled, Q is 2/3 being filled. Now, this 1 or this 2 represent what? The water, correct? And the 1 at the bottom means is what? The capacity. This is of P. This is capacity for Q. So again, the amount of water is actually the same. So this 1 and this 2 supposed to be the same, but they are not the same. So you're supposed to make it the same by looking for LCM. So what is the LCM of 1 and 2? Basically 2 lah, okay? So I times 2 here, I times 2 here, and I know now is 2/8. Correct. Now, when I make this, means that the unit that I have for P and Q now is equivalent to each other. Now, the question now asks for A is what? What is the ratio of the capacity of tank P and Q? Capacity of P is what? 8. Capacity of Q is what? 3. So the answer is what? A, 8, 2, 3. That's all. Again, just a quick reminder. Teacher, then can I use 4 to 3? Because he said 4 is capacity of P ma, 3 is capacity of Q ma, so I just put 4 to 3. The answer is no. Why? Because you have not made the unit to be equivalent. Now, the steps that I'm doing here is making it equivalent. That's why I can compare 8 to 3. But here, you have not made it equivalent and logic. That's why you can't do that. Okay? Now, let's look at the question B. What is question B about? What was the length of 1H? Length of 1H of tank Q. Means that probably they're asking for here, something like this. Okay? I mean, because it's cubical tank, it's a cubical tank, so it's the same. Okay? Now, let me just write it here. B. I mean, of course, in exam, you write properly. I write in the space given. Don't write like up on the top here. So, first thing I know is what? The difference in capacity of tank P and Q is actually 5625. So now, P I know is 8. Q is I know is 3. So the difference is what? 8 minus 3 is 5 unit. And that 5 unit is equivalent to 5625. So let me just write it here. 5625. So now, I want to find the volume, or I should say the capacity of tank Q. Okay? Means that the full capacity of tank Q, that will be equivalent to how many unit? 3 unit, right? So let's try 3 unit. So 5625, I need to divide by 5 to find 1 unit. and I times 3. So just press on your calculator and you should get 3375, and that again is the capacity of tank Q. But again, the question is not asking for capacity, but they're asking for the length of 1H. But because I know this is a cubical tank, means that I know like the length, the breadth, the height times each other, you get the volume, and they are the same. So I can use the formula here, so not formula, but the sign here called the cube root. Cube root of 3375, in you press on your calculator, you should get 15. And this is in cm. So the final answer for question B is 15 cm. Okay, 15 cm. Okay, I think it's fine. Anything is easy. But if I were to make it a bit more harder, I probably will ask you to find the height of the water, right? Okay, and if they ask for the height of water, very simple. You just need to look for 2 units, which is the capacity or the volume of water in tank Q. Then you divide by the side, since you know the side already, right? Then you just find the height, the breadth and the length. Then you're able to find the height of the water. Okay, just to make things more complicated for you. Okay, anyway, we are done with this question. And now let's move on to our next question. And I guess this is our last question. Let me just check. Yes, our last question. And this is about the circles question. Now, it's from Raffles, paper 2, question number 17. Oh, the last question. So now here says that the diagram shows 2 identical semicircles. Now, identical means what? They're almost the same, right? So you know that this is a semicircle. It's the same as this one, just that the orientation is a bit different. And a quarter circle, as you can see, a quarter circle from here, as shown in figure 1, and take pi as 22/7. Now, question A asks, find the area of the shaded figure. I mean, it's kind of easy. Now, I know that this semicircle and this semicircle is the same. So can I just kind of move it here so that I take it away, I fill this part. And if I fill this part, then it will be exactly a big quadrant. It will be exactly a big quadrant, correct? So I just need to find what? I just need to use a formula. 1/4, because the formula is 1/4 times pi r square, right, if I look for area. So pi is 22/7, and my radius is 28. Square means times 2 times 28. Just press on the calculator and you should get the idea. The answer is 616. Correct? And that will be in cm square. Again, I'm trying to move this region into this white color region. Why? Because they are having the same area. Okay, now again, moving of this side, putting it here in this kind of calculation, you can only do it when it's in area. But if it's asking for maybe perimeter, you cannot simply do that. Okay, perimeter, no. Area, yes, in this case. Now let's look at question B. So question B now asking for find the perimeter of the shaded figure. So let me just write it here to make it easier a bit. Now B is asking for the perimeter of the shaded figure. So if I'm looking for the shaded figure, let me just erase this since I cannot do when I move here in perimeter. I know that the length here and the length here are actually the same, correct? That makes sense, right? Because they are having the same identical semicircle. And I'm not sure whether you actually know that the length here is actually the same as the length here. I think a bit hard to comprehend why, but if you do it manually, you will definitely get it, okay? So, yeah, okay, because this is half of it, this is a quarter, but they are using this 28. One is using it as radius, one is using it as diameter. So that's why it kind of balance it, okay? But anyway, let's try to find the length here first. Okay, so the length here would be half times pi times d, right? Pi is 22 over 7, and my diameter is 28, as you can see, 28. So that is for this part. And since I want this part, I actually can do what? I can times 2. I times 2. And if you press in your calculator, you should get it as 88. Okay, you simplify. 4 and simplify, yeah, 88 cm. So this blue color add together is 88. Now, if you are not confident that whether this yellow color part is actually also the same as this one part of the blue color, then you can calculate also. 1 over 4 times pi times, what is the diameter in this case? Now, the radius is 28. So diameter is 28 times 2, right? 28 times 2. Okay? Then if you simplify again, 1, 4, and 22 times 2 is actually 44. And if I simplify 4 and 4, 8, and you get is what? 44. That's why this is 44, this is 44. That's why 8 together is 88. And here is actually also 44. I mean, if you are good with this, you don't need to calculate so many times. You just times 3, you should get it already. But anyway, 88 plus 44, and you get the answer is 132, and this is in cm. Okay, I hope you get an idea a bit about this question for part A and part B. And now we shall move on to part C, which is the last part of this question. So part C, they are actually kind of making it smaller, and they put this pattern inside this kind of cloth. Okay, and let's look at this question. 19 of such figures, shaded figures, were used to form a repeated pattern and printed at the bottom of a piece of cloth. The arrangement of the first 8 and the last 3 shaded figures on the cloth are shown in the figure 2. Find the length of the piece of cloth. I think probably first thing, let's just go back to the diagram first, and let's try to recognize. Now, the diagram is something like this, okay? This kind of that shape. And now, remember, this is 28 here. It's 28 here. Okay? Now, if this is 28 here, then you know the length here to here is what? It's supposed to be 14 cm, right? Why? Because this is the diameter, and this is half of the diameter, which is the radius. So with that in mind, let's try to put it here. Let's try to zoom in a bit. Zoom in a bit. Now, I know that here is 28, and here is 14. And you can see this is actually, let me just highlight a bit. This is actually considered as one shaded part, correct? So you can see this is 1, this is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's why they say there's first 8 here, okay? And the last 3 are 1, 2, 3, as you can see. But this is actually kind of important for you to notice. Let me just write it out here. Here is actually also 14. And I actually can consider this as one big part. Okay, now I have 19, right? This is actually have 2 already. Here, I have 2. Here, I have 2. Here, I have 2. So you can kind of, 19, you actually can kind of see like this. This one also 2, here's 1. Correct? Because I don't have another one that's going that side. Now, if you look carefully, I actually can say is 9 times 2 plus 1. Correct? Means that I have 9 sets of these 2, and I have extra 1 more left over here. Okay? Now, if you look carefully, the length here up to here is actually what? 14 plus 28 plus 14. So it's 14 plus 28 plus 14. How many? 56. So here is 56 cm. And I have how many of these two things together? I have 9. Again, what I found here, right? 9. Another 56, another 56. So I have 9 times. So I will use 56 times 9. Then I get actually is 504. Means that from here up to here, I have 9 sets of this, and it's actually 504 cm. And now I just need to add back the last part, then I'll be able to find the length of the cloth. So how to find? Again, here is what? 14. Here is what? 28. So basically my last step is 504 plus 14 plus 28. This will be again the 9 sets of two shaded part, and this will be the one shaded part up to here, sorry. So 504 plus 14 plus 28, that will be equal to 546 cm. And that will be my final answer for this question. Okay, I think it's a bit tricky because it involves pattern in this circle question, but it's not that difficult also. Okay, anyway, I hope you get a concept a bit better when you're looking at this video and watching this, and I hope you really learned something, and all the best for the rest of the weeks of your PSLE preparation. Okay, that's all from me. Thank you. See you. Bye bye.